Hello. Hi, 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 hi. Hi. We're just waiting for our guest speakers and ladies to join. Um okay, Mommy is ready. How is everyone doing? Please let us know. You all in the chat. Hi, hi, hi. Hi, Freddie. Hi, Marianne. Hi, Bess. Okay, Bessie's here. Perfect. I will. Hi.
Really?
Your skin is so flawless.
I'm learning from you.
Oh, please. Okay. Hi. How are you doing? How are you doing, Mommy? Where the rest?
I'm sure they will join soon.
Yeah. Okay, Coco says she's having some network challenges, but she will be on soon.
We share the link,
Yes.
or how do they do it? That's it, right? Share the link.
Yeah. So Bessie and Coco, I've invited you, so I think you just have to accept the invite. Someone say your skin is like milk. Exactly.
Bridget, have you seen her skin lately? Her skin has always been flawless.
Okay, so while we wait for Bessie and Coco to join, can everyone just tell us how they're doing? And how has your week been?
Maybe you should start.
Well, my week has been really restful. I started off the week with a holiday where I am. So it was great. So Monday, Tuesday, just rested. And then go back into the swing of things. So my week has been great. Yeah.
I can't see.
Hello.
I was
Hi.
trying to join. I was
Hello.
trying to join with my laptop, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm not so sure what the settings are. But hi guys.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Let me just put this here. Try it.
So Mamisi was just about to tell us how her week has been.
Mm.
And then Bessie, you can also tell us how your week has been. I think Coco is still trying to join, so we'll let Telecel do his thing for some time. Yeah. Okay, Mamisi, how's your
Oh, my week was great. It was just stressful. You have to do a lot of things at the same time. It was all
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. And we'll come to that, like how you juggle being in an 8 to 5, being an entrepreneur, being in ministry, doing all those things. So,
I think it's grace.
mm. Hey, someone said Mrs. Jonathan.
guys are not here to focus on the issues, eh?
Mercy, tell us, how's your week been?
My week has been amazing. Yesterday was one of my good friend's birthdays, so I went through the hurdle of throwing a whole surprise party. So yeah, um, I think that's been the highlight of the week, and also my spring break starts on Monday, so I'm a bit relaxed for now.
Okay, well, perfect. Okay, Coco is here. Let me just add here, and then we can dive into our chit chat. Okay, so first of all, I want to say thank you to all three of you. So everybody goes like, "Oh, women supporting women," but we don't see any action. Women really struggle to support each other. But I'm really grateful that you will agree to just hop on a call with me, live session with me, to share like your stories, the lessons that you've learned along the way, some of the challenges and all the good stuff we'll get into. So I really think part of accelerating action is taking the step to actually do what accelerating action is, which is supporting other women to.
Sorry to catch you. Someone said, "Where's Delphina?"
She's joining. Oh, the issue is the country she's in is also a limitation.
First,
Yeah, but
Oh,
I see from my
I'm
end that she's joining. So
Issy, you are not in the same country as Kokoe.
she is
Ghana, please.
just, even when you're in Ghana, the location also matters.
So I'm the only one in Ghana, right?
I'm partly in Ghana.
Coco is in
I'm not.
I'm
Ghana.
spiritually in Ghana.
Um, okay, I think we can. So I put like an icebreaker in the post asking people what do all four of us have in common, and somebody said all of us are short.
Of that.
Oh my days.
That's a wrong
But
answer.
it's a fact.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
that
was mean to me.
that's
It's
very mean.
mean.
That petite. Which ones we are
I know,
short?
I think that a part of growth is self-awareness, because knowing that I'm short, nothing you can say will even make me upset.
The only thing, okay, Coco said, kindly permit me as I try to join. Yes, ma'am. Okay, we'll permit you, Coco. We permit
Yes. Oh
you.
yeah, yeah. All of us are cute. Thank you, Frederica. All of us are models. Yeah, fact.
That's the correct answer. Coco will come and give you a
That was my
giveaway. The main reason why I brought Coco here is giveaway, so she can dash people things. Um,
Thank you for
question.
for telling me that we are taller than some people.
who's mommy for you, boy?
Evelyn.
Is it Evelyn?
Yes. Hi,
Yeah.
and
To the conversation because we also don't have much time, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. Again, thank you all for joining. The reason why we're doing this in the first place is to have conversations around stories of women that are successful. And over the years, we keep seeing all these big women who have achieved big things, and the women in their 50s and 60s sharing their stories. But I think it's very important for us, like in our age range and group, to also share our stories because we have people who have big achievements. Even graduating from school is a big achievement, and I know that it can be an encouragement to someone, and it can also help others navigate the journey that they are on. So, okay, so background why I chose three of you. I know I said I chose Coco because of giveaway, but that's just side gist. So when I was thinking about career journey and business and entrepreneurship and big moves and big wins and all of that, I thought of Coco because, and Coco is Delphina, for those of you who don't know. And I thought of her because I saw her start her business from scratch. I knew like the hesitations that came with it, but then she's been at it for years now. She's been successful, and I think she can talk a lot more on entrepreneurship. And then Bessie, you've come from a science background, and I don't know how you just pushed your way through, but you are an exceptionally excellent lawyer. Big, bold stuff across the world. And so I think you can also touch more on career and, like not necessarily the straitjacket career thing, but like an 8 to 5 kind of person. And then Mamiesi is a merge of both. So Mamiesi is working full time, and then she's also an entrepreneur in the beauty industry. And beauty and makeup is not something you just enter. And I remember like so many years ago, why she even came to my mind was I remember so many years ago when I first heard that she was starting like a makeup business. I was like, I didn't know this girl can talk. She wants to do makeup. Um, and just throughout the years, just watching her grow, expand her clientele, I've heard so many good things from the people that she has worked with. I've seen her work like with my eyes, physical, and she's exceptional at what she does. So I think that three of you are the best people to have for this conversation. So we'll jump right in. Maybe we can start with Bessie. Just tell us a bit about who you are, what you do, and yeah, we'll take it from there.
Thank you, Noeli, for that very generous introduction. So I don't know about me. Okay, you want me to tell the whole story as to how I came to do the law?
Yeah, so from science into.
Okay, so we know how typically when you are like, I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but if you know you are like a smart
Right.
student, yeah, smart students from like high school, everyone, I mean, from junior high school, your teachers, everybody says go and do science, be a medical doctor. So that was about it for me. I think the truth is that at that point, I really didn't know what I was going to do. So I felt my teachers knew what was best for me. So I wanted to go to Wesley Girls High School so badly, but I was I was made to go to science, which I believe is it was a blessing and is a blessing to me. So I wrote the WASI, I wrote the BEC, and then I got into science. I found myself in science A. And I mean, the first year we were all just like going through the school. I don't know if it was just me, but first year we just go to the chapel. There's not much going on. You didn't really have any face time with the teachers. But then first year, um, it went well because the grades were good. So we went on to second year. So second year was when I really knew that I wanted to do computer engineering, not medicine. Medicine was never on my radar. I wanted to do computer engineering. So I think when we wrote the WASI, I did well, but I didn't do so well as my mom would have expected me to do. And I think that year, tech wasn't taking 2014 graduates because of the backlog from the 2013 and then the 2012 batch or something. So they didn't take tech WASI, but they took tech tech students. So yeah, my option was to stay at home for a year because I wanted to do the computer engineering and tech. But my mom was no, she didn't want the idea of me like staying at home for one whole year. A lot can happen. So she's like, no, come up with something. Besides, I didn't do as well as I was supposed to do. And at the time, my dad had traveled. So, and he's very chill and he's like my biggest cheerleader. I'm not saying my mom isn't, she's my second biggest cheerleader. But my dad was like, oh, I shouldn't worry. And I think what he said that has always been with me is that these things happen and we know you worked very hard. So he told me that he had just seen a newspaper advertisement that said that Central University was starting an LLB program. And I'm like, okay, cool. See, at this point, it's like I don't have an option. So I'll just like go. I didn't even know what the whole law thing was about. Trust me, like I'm not going to lie and say, oh, I always wanted to help people, speak for people, advocate. So that's going to be like a total lie. Like I never thought of law. So I went through Central, and I think the driving point for me in Central was, sorry, I have to laugh because Coco is gone. So Alicia was really disgracing Coco. So like, yeah, I was like, okay, now I'm here. I have to make the most of it. So that's one thing about me. Like, even if I don't want to do the things, if I find myself there, I think that's just one of my strengths. Like, I'm an achiever. So I find that once I'm supposed to do something, I have to do it well. So first year, I was just like studying, like, and I didn't find law to be so challenging because it was just like reading. But science has to do with math, calculating, like, so you see the switch from doing something very like formula, like it has formulas, it has drawings, biology, etc. And now you come to like just reading cases. So I didn't find it so challenging. So it wasn't so difficult. I think it was just econs for me, which was difficult, but I was able to manage that. So first year, I told myself, please, people are going to government schools and not paying as much as I'm paying. My parents are paying so much for my feeding, my accommodation, my school fees. I can't just let everything go down the drain. So I told myself that I need to make the most out of this. But I was doing a lot of extracurricular activities. And I think that was one thing that baffled my classmates because this girl is doing everything on campus and it's also like acing her grades. So I think I'm not gonna lie and say I always wanted to do law. See, I knew nothing about law. Even as of final year, I didn't know that I had to write some entrance exam. I knew nothing about it because I was just going through the school. But I think that the defining moment for me when I realized I had to do law was in 2019. My summer internship at this firm, Painter Pencil and Co. So I had the opportunity to like hold an interview, a client interview. And after the client interview, I was being supervised by my senior. But after the interview, the client interview, I realized that the woman was so full of gratitude. And I was like, come on, this is like basic legal knowledge. I just like gave you 2 or 3 lines. But I realized that it had changed her life completely. Just giving her like something I just learned from law school and then using it for an internship. I was like, okay, so someone won't have the opportunity to have this basic legal knowledge, but I do have it. So what am I going to use it for the betterment of the people who come to me for help? So I think that was the defining moment. I realized that something I may think is basic won't be basic to everyone. And I realized that just giving advice to people, legal advice to people, could bring me so much satisfaction I never thought I would get from the career I found myself in. So I think that's the story of how I found myself in the law. And I think the lesson from it for me is that you don't have to get the inspiration from the get-go. Inspiration can come from any point in time, but once you set yourself up to do something, you should do it and do it well. So that's my story of coming into law.
Yeah, that's like a very, very real story, and I'm glad. No, because you say, oh, even though I was in science, I feel like, as I was navigating, but
Hi, what a tussle. Good
Oh
evening.
my days, good evening.
Hmm. Let's just
they're
be
coming
going.
for me.
My apologies. I had to actually come to a pharmacy and then ask someone for their phone. So
Wow.
that's where we are at. Okay.
I'm
Sorry I missed out a
glad
lot.
you joined us. Thank you. We are
Thank
so
you. I was excited to hear Bessie talk, so let's keep it rolling. Before I turn this into a rant session, sorry
We are
to
already
everyone.
tired. We are already tired of your telecell runs.
Wow. A
Where's
story for
AC?
another.
I think mommy
Also
is
probably suffering. But at least I can see the Ghanaian babes understand me. So thank you guys.
we're so glad. Bessie was just telling how she transitioned and there's some, I don't know if it's down.
It's
So
from her
you
end.
was on and off, but I can hear at least.
No,
All right.
where I get. So Bessie was telling us how she transitioned from a science background. God, can I not see that comment?
She said, "Where am I?"
Please, let's not answer any other questions once I ask you.
Thank
We
you.
have this conversation beautiful. Um, so Betty was telling us how to transition from into law. It was very, 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 I appreciate that. One thing that really stood out was um, she knows who she is. She knows she's a high achiever. She knows she's a shark. She didn't downplay like what she knows about herself. So in the situation where 10 candidates for that year faced whatever was head on, and she did well. And so, Coco, can you tell us what was your inspiration to start it? Did you study business? Take us through that whole, you know.
Okay. Can you guys hear me though?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right. So, for me, the very honest reason why I started business was because I wanted extra income. Because I found myself in a situation that was not comfortable at home. So you know how you just want to buy extra things and then there's no money. So that was truly my inspiration. And then back then there weren't so many people starting business. It was just a few. But I was lucky to be friends with Mami AC. So I could see the extra income she was getting. I'm like, you can find something to do and then get an extra income. Why not? So I like sandals a lot, so I started with that, and then I started selling that, and then that was my inspiration. But along the line, my inspiration has sort of shifted because then I realized that okay, I really like selling, and then I kind of I started with selling sandals, but then I moved to customization. I enjoyed that, and now I'm trying to battle the two. So that was my inspiration.
Yeah. Um, so,
So
Coco,
money. So I don't exactly think money is a bad inspiration, but then you could it has to be sidelined with passion because right
mm,
now it's like the passion to do it or the need. I see a need to give people what they want. So that's what's pushing me now.
yeah, thank you for sharing that. Since I think it's because we were in school from last how old, maybe like 6 or 7. Yeah. Um, and the judges, if there are no, for example, people in class tomorrow when she's coming. So she's always been like to identify to make money. Uh, oh, I think people are complaining.
Yeah, Noli, I think there's like some feedback. Coco,
Mm,
are we on speaker on your car?
No,
So who
but
is
can
this
you
from?
hear me? Well, you
Coco,
can
can you
hear
mute?
noise.
Mute
Like when we
yourself.
Okay.
speak,
But it's
yeah.
Okay, beautiful. So
Uh-huh.
when we need you to talk, they can mute.
I don't like that I am muting my girl, please.
No, no.
Justice for Coco.
Of the purpose of the conversation. So I was saying that like I've known Coco from as far back as I can remember, and she's always been very strategic in meeting people's needs to make money. Even if it wasn't to make so much money, she's always meeting people's needs, and she's a relationship person. So she won't just meet your need; she will give you a good experience while at it. She will become your friend. The next time you need something, you will call her. She'll make money from it. And it's just strategy. Like if you need a solution for something, Coco will provide the solution for you. Even if it's not in her way, she'll go and look for the solution and make money from it. And I think that's a summary of who she is. And she's just very effective at it. And like how Bessie, you said that you know you're an achiever. I think Coco, she's just very strategic in solving problems to make money. So thank you so much for saying that, Coco. And another thing from what you said is it's okay to start something to make extra money. Just make sure that you couple it with passion and solving a need. So that's, I told you people that the ladies I'm bringing here. Hmm. Mamiesi, so tell us, for you, like, what's your background, and then how did you also start business? So you are going to be doing like double-sided, here. So talk to us about how you started, like, and then your HR and admin stuff, and then talk to us about how you started your business. How did that come up and all of that?
Okay, thank you, Noeli. So with my background, I think you've had a little brief on your page. So I'm sure by now people know who I am. I'm a makeup artist, and admin person, and HR person. Yes. So it all started when I took business course in Infant Man Girls. So initially, I didn't know I would be an entrepreneur. I didn't know I wanted to be an HR person. I just knew I wanted to be an accountant because I loved math, and accounting was more like I just thought I would be an accountant until uni time when I didn't get to read business admin for my first degree. So I ended up in a sociology class where I was reading so much theories and all that. Well, I got along with time, and I think I got interest in getting to know people, relating with getting to know about how humans relate and all that. And with the makeup, I think it was just my passion. I just liked to look good, to dress up, do makeup, usually lip gloss or just so I mascara or something. But as for lip gloss, I love lip gloss. So it got to a point where I even used to put lip gloss on my eyelid just for that showy glow, you know. During JHS classes and all that, SHS vacation, I used to do that for pictures. And when I got to uni, I think a it really ignited because I there was freedom. Okay, there was freedom. I could do whatever I wanted, and in fact, in uni level 100 I on my table. So it was just waking up, doing a little brow, doing my lip gloss, and taking it to lectures. So I started with that until my friends got along, my roommates and my friends got along. Sometimes they say, oh, mommy, do brows for me, mommy, do makeup for me. And then one of my roomies from level 200 was a model. So anytime she had a shoot or any modeling gig, she would come for me to do makeup for her. So until she started getting compliments and she was like, Mommy, you are good at what you do. Why don't you use it for a business? That was when I started. I began to think of it. If I do business, if I channel into business and then I start making a little money out of it, I'll be able to buy whatever I wanted to buy back then. So that was how I started. And back then I started with and I think 50 CDs. So I used to take little by little from not from her like my room, but other people who came as a result of her referral. Yes. So when I started with that, she encouraged me to actually get an Instagram account. So because I didn't have much doing, it was just Snapchat and back I think my personal ID. So when she brought up the idea of, oh, mommy, why don't you enter into business with this makeup thing because you are good at it? Then I set up, I created an Instagram account for the makeup. So I started from grass and then I created the account. I followed some friends, but that was how we got going. So until I got my first booking, like my first official booking, it wasn't really it was just something I was doing casually because I didn't know it would become something big, you know. I was just trying because yeah, my roomie said I'm good at it and I should try. So I was just trying. I didn't know it would be something big until I got my first official makeup gig, and then so I did the makeup. I took pictures and I posted. I got a couple of likes and a couple of comments, And that was how I started. So I made sure so when it started like that, I made sure I save little by little so that I could just invest and plow back whatever profit I made and to build a brand, because I just knew that from there it wouldn't be something small again. It would definitely be something bigger than I expected. And with the admin thing, I think that was the role I was assigned to during my national service. So I just got the interest after national service to actually learn the institutional operations, so that I could put it back into my business when I finally go back to build my brand. So that was how I got interested in pursuing admin. And then with the HR, it just came along. I'll just say it came along because I realized that with the admin, I mean, I had to, everybody was an admin assistant or a senior admin assistant principal. Admin and what added value are you adding to your profession? E- aside everybody being an admin, I mean, they have other things they are doing, other things they've added up. And even if they didn't, I wanted to stand out. So I thought I thought of taking a master's program in admin. And afterwards, in fact, while I was at it, I started researching about HR so that as soon as I'm done, I could just use that certificate to apply so that I get my added value, because I knew I didn't want to stay at one place for a very long time. I wanted to progress, even if it was the same profession. I wanted to progress, and I needed some of these certifications sites to help me go along the line. So that's how come I got interested in the HR, also to know my rights. Because at a point, I felt like they were taking advantage of me, like they were undermining me. Because who is this little girl who is always all over the place? Can you just sit at one place, So I just wanted to know know the HR law, like what an employee is supposed to know, so that nobody will treat me unfairly, or even so that I wouldn't treat my staff unfairly when I actually build my makeup brand and I have to employ, people and all that. So I think, that's basically it has helped me, and that's what I'll say it is.
Yeah, this is so good. Like you said, so many powerful things. But I want to just go back on something Coco said. So she said what's one of the things that inspired her to even start was she saw how much money you were making. And she's like, "Hey, Mommy is making this
How much money I presume she was
Oh,
making,
Coco,
because
back
you
then,
know one funny thing. People
with twins.
tend to think that. Can you hear me?
yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
People tend to think that, like, maybe from the get go in business, it's all money, 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 money. But I'm sure if I actually asked her that, hey, how is it going? I would have said, okay, thank you. Let me go and
Oh,
focus on my
Yeah.
my other true goals. So yeah.
That you were not making as much that you were making.
what?
I'm
Pardon?
saying that all that you were not making as much as Coco assumed that you were
No, no,
making.
no. I
So
wasn't.
would you say that okay, no, before I come to that, um so Coco was saying that she saw how much you were making, all of that, or what she assumed you were making, and that sort of like pushed her. I see a thread of you looking out for people and people looking up to you, because you're talking right now about how you also went into HR thinking of, okay, when I build my brand, how do I also want my staff and my employees to benefit? And I just want to highlight that because one of the things that as women we need to begin to do is to look out for each other. So you have a bad experience doesn't mean somebody else should have that bad experience as well. You know, that thing they call pay it forward. You make sure that like you don't repeat certain experiences that others, made you had. Now, would you say that having a 9 to 5 kind of cushioned you when you were starting your business? And then Coco, come to that where Coco too has been in 9 to 5 back and forth.
Right.
But she's a free and so now you can confront.
the time to wake up alone, truthfully, kills me. So we'll get to that when she shares her perspective.
Yeah. So, Mami, you
Okay.
talk about, and would you advise people to, when launching out into a business, have like a constant or consistent source of income?
So I don't think there's a formula to it, okay? Everybody and what works for them. To me, it could be that working in a 9 to 5 and doing the makeup alongside worked for me. You could start that and it wouldn't work for you. Like Coco said, waking up very early was quite hectic for her. I also thought initially when I started the makeup and it started growing, I thought I would quit 9 to 5 for that because I would be working for myself and nobody will dictate to me what time to wake up, what time to do what. But it gets to a point where I have to wake up at 4 a.m. for a 5 a.m. gig before I go to work at 8. So, and on a regular, when I'm going to work at 8, I can decide to wake up at 6 a.m. So in this instance, it's right up that is making me wake up very early, exactly. So with the financial bits, whether the makeup, the 9 to 5 has cushioned me in my makeup, I think yes, it has because with the 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, you have your job security and you know that at the end of the month you are getting your salary, okay, so you are able to budget with it. With the makeup, if you build the brand well, you are able to strategize and then let me say plan plan it in a way that you are certain that, oh, in a month I'll get about 5 to 10 or 15 or 25 or 30 bookings, and I'll make this amount of money out of it. And even if it doesn't go that way, maybe I'll half of it, okay, and you can make the budget with it. But with the 8 to 5, because it's a constant salary, that you got sick along the line and you got sick leave, you took I don't know whatever it is, but whatever the instance, unless you actually misconducted yourself and they have to penalize you for it. But I mean, if you are a pro like me, prim and proper, you wouldn't do anything bad. So you are certain that you get your salary at the end of the month. So you're able to.
Oh, I think we lost her. And uh,
Am I still alive?
yeah. So, Coco, I think you can talk.
Okay. So I like the line that she was towing because I believe it's the same, but maybe like just the opposite side. Like she said, there's no formula to it. I also think the timing of when you start your business affects your decisions. So for me, I was in school. When you're in school, your responsibilities are less. I won't say there's not much expected of you, but like there isn't so much expected of you. So the timing to which you start matters. I also think that you should look at, let's say, what you have, whether you have some savings, whether you're going to get some support before you take such a decision. For me right now, I tried 9 to 5, but it wasn't working out just because of the line of business I was doing. So I would have, let's say, people wanting shirts, and I'm stuck in like an office, and there's a time frame to it. And if you know Ghanaians, we are the people who like to order at 6 a.m. and want it the next day, or suddenly we are traveling. There's a whole lot to it. And the more like it's like you're giving excuses. So the more excuses you're giving, the more you're losing out.
Mm-hmm.
So that was tough for me. That was actually one of the reasons why I had to say, okay, this is going well, so let me just stick to it, develop my clients. Then along the line, I can see whether I would like to go back or go back to school. Because so when I was starting out, it was very difficult to balance just because of the fact that I may lose people. So I think you have to look at the people you have, the line of business. You have to structure it basically, because I also believe that just as I'm saying, there's probably somebody who is doing both. And that's just because maybe they've properly structured it, or they've been able to can take over. Yeah, so you have to look at
Yeah.
both sides. Yeah.
Someone asked a question. That question: will you decline a 9 to 5? But you kind of have to go.
Will I decline a 9 to 5?
Like, will you decline a gig to save your 9 to 5? Like, I think the question was from Macy, but you kind of tap. I'll just move on. Is Coco still here? Okay.
I'm here.
So those in the entrepreneurship line have talked a lot about some of their challenges, how things are not necessary. For you, would you say, obviously it's not easier, but would you, Coco, can you, perfect, thank you. So Bessie, would you say that you had, oh, sorry, my Missy is trying to join. These are the issues. Okay,
I'm sorry the line dropped.
no
I'm sorry.
problem.
I think it was the network.
Yes, we have a question for you, but I'll let Bessie speak and then we'll pass it back to you. So I was asking Bessie, would you say that because your journey, and correct me if I'm wrong, because your journey is more defined, like you know what to do after what, or at least you can find out, because I know you said you didn't even know you had to take an exam. Would you say that it has been easier to set goals for yourself? And then what are some of like the risk and challenges that you faced along the line?
I think setting goals, once you know where you're going, it should be easy for you. I think goals should not be limited to your career. It could be personal goals, what you even want to see within the career, and goals outside of it. But I feel like in the end, both personal goals and professional goals should align. I think I'll just talk about my early stages of the career and how that actually made goal setting very easy. Um, I think when I started my career, I think the early stages of my career were actually the best stages of my career. And I say this because of the kind of people I met in the environment. Um, so I'll just like touch on what my Macy said when she gave us the narration of how she came into doing the makeup, about her roommate actually telling her that she had the skills. I feel like sometimes we need the right environment or the right people to highlight the kind of strengths we have, or to actually, even if when we know we have the strengths, to actually point us to the fact that we can do better with that strength or with that skill. So I think that we should be intentional about the people we keep around us. And even in the professional setting where you have no option than to stay with certain people, you still have the option to decide who you really want to stay close to. And I think that was one thing that really helped me in my career. So when I started working, I met super amazing team members, but I will mention my immediate senior. She's called Fauzia. She taught me everything I knew or I know now. She introduced me to principles that even if you had worked for like 3 years, you wouldn't know. And she basically threw me out there to make all the mistakes I could make in my first year. So by the end of my pupillage, I realized I was doing things that even some colleagues of mine in other firms were not doing. And I think apart from her, my boss also made the environment very conducive to set personal goals and professional goals. I mean, you could tell yourself maybe within 3 months, I should be able to draft a memo which will come back with less track changes, like stuff like that. So I feel like the environment played a very crucial role. I don't know if it's because it's female dominated. I won't give credit to that. You can have female dominated environments where the people are so rude and mean and very competitive and don't even want to see you win. But this environment was, I think it was the best place for me to actually grow. With the risk, I'll say that my main risk was I could have taken a better offer from a firm that was going to pay me more, except that it was a very large firm. And for me, on top of my priority list was mentorship. Like, I wanted a place where I could have face time with the boss. There are some places where you could go through the month without even seeing the managing partner, and I didn't want that. I wanted to learn directly from my boss. She taught me in school, and I really admired her. So I was like, I'll take this risk. The money, you can always make the money at any point in your career. So the money was not on top of my list. So mentorship was really on top of my list. So knowing that I wanted mentorship, I actually went for a firm that would give me that. I also want to say that, as I said, people highlighting your strengths and your skills, these people really did that. Because tell me how on a Monday morning, your boss could just like walk into your office and say, let's see, do this quick research for me. And you have like 15 to 20 minutes to come up with something she could go and speak on. I never knew I had such superpowers, but I think from in the first stages, I was struggling. I could ask for an extension, etc. But from time to time, I realized I could meet her deadlines. And usually, the deadlines they give you are like, if you even want it in 30 minutes, she'll tell you 15 minutes. So I realized that you could ask for an extension, but I never capitalized on that. And I realized from time to time I got good or got better with actually meeting her deadlines. So I think you should know what you want before you actually set your goals. Also, the environment is really key. For me, this environment has shaped my entire career. Opportunities I never thought existed came my way because I decided to be in a small firm. Also, the kind of people that you decide to actually align yourself, even with the environments that you work in, really help you. Because trust me, I could have aligned myself with any other senior, any other boss, any other person, and I wouldn't have gotten the kind of experience I got. Also, another thing I'll say is that in the work environments, you should do your research before you go. And as Noeli said, don't be the person, be the senior that, or be the boss that you wanted when you were a young lawyer or a young professional. Because as Noeli said, there are lots of people who just are like, oh, when I came, this was what they did to me. So I'm going to do the same thing to you. It's a very archaic and shallow mindset. I'm sorry. We need to come out of that. And nobody is your competition. I feel like sometimes too, some seniors see the younger lawyers as their competition. What I did was, I feel like the younger lawyers have all the ideas and then they have all the knowledge, in my opinion. Because when you are fresh out of school, you know what's going on, you know what's really happening on the ground. So I tend to really align or stay with the younger lawyers to actually learn from them. I'll mention Audrey. Audrey was like a key source of learning a lot of things when she came to work with me where I was working. So don't see the younger people as a competition. See them as people who can actually push you to further achieve your goals. And I think lastly, don't make enemies in the office. Always, if you have a problem with somebody and you think maybe the person is senior to you, if you can't talk to the person, find another senior, speak to that person and see maybe you're not getting the perspective of that person. If it still doesn't make sense to you, just have a conversation with the person. Don't go about gossiping about the person and backbiting about the person. I've always maintained that people have different experiences with people. I can experience Noeli in a different way. Coco will experience Noeli in a very different way, and Issy will do same. Until all of us have experienced Noeli, I don't see any reason why I should tell Noeli bad things about Coco. Just allow them to experience people for themselves. You are there to work. Yes, you can make friends, but don't forget that the goal is not to make enemies. And usually, all the people in the office are working towards a common goal. We are not working against each other. So there's really no need for you to have very unhealthy competition in the office. So those are the things that my environment was very, very friendly. You can go to work and you don't even want to go home. So I think that if currently you're in an office and you are in the habit of backbiting or bad mouthing people, I'll just say stop. But then you should always make sure your personal goals align with your professional goals so that you can have an overall good experience at work and outside of work.
That's my head girl. And you know, such great wisdom. The English is finished from my head. But if there's something that has been consistent about you, and just me knowing you, is like this last bit that you just said. There's no need to be in competition with anybody, one. And two, like, your environment is really all you have. Like, safeguard it. And don't be doing talk about this person here, talk about that person there. Oh my god. Somebody should give her some money.
It's fun. So yeah, I just wanted to add to what Ejiwa said,
Yeah.
because I also, for the context of Ghana, I believe that bold moves is also daring to be different, because that's all I could take out from what she's saying. Being in a toxic environment and saying to yourself that this place is toxic, but I can't relate. This place is, because sometimes I just think that it's easier to get sucked in the environment you are in. Like sometimes even unconsciously.
Huh?
Like, oh, even business, career, or everybody has bad customer service. Me too, if I do one or two bad customer service, it's like that. Oh, we always talk about each other. Me too, if I do some, what will happen? I'm not the first one. So from her take, I can like, being bold also means daring to be different, which will be hard, but it will be worth it at the end. So shout out to Bessie.
And
I also agree with what you said with the enabling environment, because it's one thing that also motivated me to keep pushing. Because most of the time, these professors and doctors, they see you on the corridors and ask, "Oh, mommy, how are you? So what's next in line for you?" You know, and you cannot be the one who is always saying who's always giving an answer that's not motivating or encouraging. Like what's next?
oh, this network. Okay. I'm sure I will reconnect and she'll join back. But Coco, let me just go to you. So just piggying back off of what Bessie said about no competition and all of that. For the kind of space that you are in, which is business, there are a lot of people who do what you do, right? And I know like one of the things that really stands out is your quality of service and all of that. But um how do you, okay, let me start this way. Have you had people supporting you, like other people in your space supporting you? And then how would you say that, okay, answer that one first. Like talk about if you've had people supporting you. So Bessie talked about like people who, you know, she mentioned Fauzia, and then she also mentioned Audrey, who was subordinate but then was still very relevant in bringing ideas and stuff. So have you had people support you in your space?
Okay, as in people in the space or just general?
So I think we can expand it to general. And then if there are women too, maybe you can.
Okay, so for general, I think it tends people tend to those Instagram quotes or those Twitter quotes about how strangers will be the biggest support and everything. I align with that. For me, my greatest supporter, she's actually here doing grace and things. It will be Martha, because when at the time that I was starting a business, it was not common. And we grow up with, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a doctor. What do you mean you want to sell sandals? Like, come on, be serious. You're talking about serious things. You're also bringing, you want to. But from the first time that I told her, she was encouraging. She would share ideas with me. She would keep you on your toes. Because personally, although I know that like I'm creative, I have ideas, me, I need a lot of push. That's just the kind of person I am. Like I need somebody who push me or who remind me that, hey, you say you do this. So she was that person for me. And then my mom also. And I was also just blessed to have, I don't remember anyone being negative about business. If anything, just like I said, Mamisi was like the fact that I look at her and assume that she's having all the money. I also felt people see me that way. So there was rather more of encouragement, and also encouragement through your customers. Like the way I think everybody here has given me a referral before. So it was those little things that kept me going. So it makes me say, okay, I should keep going, I should keep going. And for me, when I reflect a lot, it means a lot to me because at the beginning stages, it was very hard to try and maintain like a good customer service for everyone or to make everyone happy. Like it's a big challenge to be able to do that. I was not getting it right for a lot of times, but the fact that people always still come back to you, give you the chance to make it right. I feel like that's a support that you not get anywhere else. So for me, I had good support. I don't remember having any negative feeling, but a good support, like general.
Right. Okay. I'll ask my when she's here fully. But Coco, quick, when you started your business, it wasn't common that. But I want to find out how they. Okay, first of all, when out the beginning, take us through that, and they motivate with all the challenges coming up.
You would have to come again because you went off.
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't hear the question.
okay. So I'm saying that
Hmm.
were you selling out like immediately? Then how you stayed motivated with all the things you faced that how did you stay
Oh,
motivated to keep at it? So were you
okay.
selling out and then
Oh, okay. Of course, no, you can't. You can't. I wasn't selling out, but also just as we are talking, if you are going into business with that notion that you are going to sell out, then please back out because I mean, just like everything is not a formula, you can enter and actually sell out. You could also enter and then the losses will over you. So when I went in, I mean, I made good sales to be very honest. It was okay. What kept me going was the fact that everybody was supporting and I could I could find purpose in it. So for me, I could find purpose. Another thing too was I didn't look at like my surroundings. Like every time I wake up, all I think about is what can I do to help my business. So I will post. I didn't mind if for me I always have that formula. I don't believe that somebody should repost what you are doing or it's not by force, please. If they do it, great. If they don't, we're fun aside. Like you have to take it like that. Like it is what it is. So for and as a business person, I feel like you need that mindset that you will keep posting, you keep going on, you keep doing what you have to do to help it grow. So I feel like that's what motivated me or kept me going. And I also realized that consistency really helped. The more you push yourself out there, the more the support will come, the more it keeps going great. So I told myself, if I don't post on this day, I've lost somebody. And truly, that's what used to happen. Like the days I don't feel like posting, and I have that a lot. Like I have days that I don't want to be on the internet today. I want to be in my corner, have my peace of mind. Then I'm like, hey, if I do that, how will I make money? So, and the days that I actually come and post, hmm, that's when you be getting people that will be like buying. I'm like, hey, so if I didn't do this and I wanted to follow my feelings or my emotions for the day, because as girls too, I feel like we have that like, and I'm unfortunately, like in business, like one of my personal challenges is that you can't afford that. You can't afford to not. Am I still on?
Yes, please.
You can't afford to like relax. You can't afford to have those kind of options. So you have to keep going. So I'll just say that the fact that I geared my mind to be consistent. Now I wish I was consistent like I used to, because then I would post, not caring, just keep at it. Just keep going, just keep going. And then also when you start out, or when I started out, I didn't have like a lot of resources. Even now, sometimes, let's say, we all know like the Koi jewelry brand, or a brand that, if you see their content, you see they've gone to the studios. I mean, like, money has gone into it. I didn't have that, so you have to do with what you have.
Yeah.
So the mindset that, okay, it's a progress, like it's gradual. You have to keep going, like little by little. I would say those are the things that motivated me or made me stay in business.
Right. You. Yeah, I sent the site. I accepted yours as well. But there's a question for the entrepreneurs, and then I'll come back to you. But the question for the entrepreneurs, I think, just say not is handling, or you believe everyone is good.
Once again, you have to read it because you went off. So sorry.
Okay, so the person's question: do you think we can just say that not is good with handling, or you believe every if there's a push?
That's a good one. I believe, like Bessie said, truly, a business really has to do with goals. If you set out that you want to be the best, if you want to do it, you can actually do it. It's a learning space. Like it's a career, like it's a learning space. So I won't say that. I feel like, okay, sometimes your natural skills enhances your business, right?
Right.
But I also believe that a lot of things can be taught, or you get better as you go on. So, like Bessie was saying, her environment encouraged her to bring out what she didn't think she has. Like, she didn't know she's a superpower, but it turns out she was. I feel like it's the same with business. So you can't just say that, oh, people are naturally good at it. So, and also one thing about business is, if you don't try it, how will you know truly? It's not even just business, it's to everything. If you don't make the bold move, how would you know that you are good at it? If you don't if you don't sing, how would you know that, okay, you have a voice?
Yeah.
If her boss gives her the assignment and she says, oh, she wants to go and buy watch or something, how would you know that, oh, she could have done it in the 20 minutes? So I feel like that also plays a role. You have to be bold enough to try out and then see.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
And then, of
Thank you, Coco.
course, of course, you also need a push. Like I was saying, I feel like I'm someone that needs a push a lot of times. But another, like, reality of adulthood is that sometimes you have to give yourself the push, because everybody has their thing going on. Don't
Right.
always wait that somebody's come to give you the push. So yeah, as everybody's having their thing, so sometimes you have to give yourself the push. It can be it can be in different ways that you give yourself the push. Sometimes you have to sit down with yourself. Like, sometimes I sit down with myself, I say, sister, you're getting lazy. So you have to do that for yourself. Sometimes it comes through the word of God. So it comes in different ways, but don't always expect that somebody has to give you the push. Sometimes you can give yourself the push.
Yeah. I like. touched on that because a lot of us are very what's the word I'm looking for? We feel like it's our right. Huh? Bessie, what do you think? We feel
Entitled.
very, very entitled. We feel very entitled to things. And to be honest, I've had the opportunity of working with young people. And young people like us feel like it's because you're here, you should just get me through. I can give you the opportunity, I can show you how to, but don't feel entitled, like for me to by force make sure that you thrive or you get to where I am, right? Thank you, Coco. Bessie, so you have, I mean, currently, yeah, in the hinterlands, doing great things. How have you stayed relevant in your line of work? Like even with what you're doing now, with your LLM and all of that, even where you go, like where you are now, like it's only for the 1% of the 1%. How, like, what would you say is your strategy to keep relevant and keep afloat, in where you are?
Okay, so currently, I just want to like start a conversation from my last year at work to where I am currently. So I think in my final year of work before I came to do this master's program, like so many things happened that I didn't even think should happen to me. Not because I didn't think I was too good, but I felt like it was too early in my career. So I I was able to get like I won this award for key lawyer. To be honest, I don't know where it came from. So when even people ask me, I can't explain. And there was this other thing. I do family law a lot. So I got this young early career award to just go for a conference. So all those things made me see that, okay, maybe sometimes you don't want to be out there so much, but you have to embrace the fact that you are out there. Sometimes I grapple with the fact that I'm not intentionally trying to be out there, but I am out there. So even with this LLM program, I just came to actually just get a master's degree and like push my career a step forward. But when I came here, I realized that I still couldn't like not put myself out there. So apart from networking, which I think is a very key skill everyone should have, um, I think that you should be a very good and effective communicating person. Like you should have good and effective communication skills. So if you find yourself in a place where I am, like my LLM program is for people from around the world, you you will find that you're even getting an accent that you never thought you had. Because not because they are trying to do laugher things, but because you need to speak to their level.
Right.
Yes. So I think that if you ask me about ways I'm staying relevant, I believe currently I'm building a network of people beyond Ghana to be able to push my career as well as my foundation a step forward when I'm done with it. I believe that being outside of Ghana shouldn't be a hindrance. So wherever you find yourself, you should make sure that whatever you're doing aligns with your greater goal. For me, I'm interested in the law. I'm actually interested in policy and everything that concerns women's rights. So I like family law. So staying relevant, even though American law doesn't concern me, I've aligned myself strategically with projects here in the law school that will that will take me a step closer to my big goal after I'm done. So I may not be doing anything concrete in Ghana, but whatever I'm doing here, aligning myself with people from other jurisdictions who will be a source of network. I mean, if my foundation wants to partner with somebody in Malaysia, Canada, I always know that I have this classmate I can call.
Right.
Again, there are projects I'm working on that if I didn't come here, I would not be able to do it. And they have ties with Ghana. So in the future, if I'm making reference, I can say, oh, when I was here, I did this and this. And everybody will know that it builds up to the story I'm trying to tell eventually.
Yeah.
Also, even though I'm not in Ghana, I'm still maintaining contact with people that have always supported me in my journey. So the thing is that sometimes when you relocate, you tend to like forget all the people that actually helped you get to this stage, or people that you've always connected with on a different level. So even though I'm not in Ghana, my mentors, like I have a couple of mentors professionally, and I have people that are my shepherds in the Lord, people who keep me in the faith, and I have friends who have always supported me. So whilst I'm here, I make sure that they are always in the know of what's happening here. I work with Aina on the Ubio Small Girls Foundation because she's really amazing. I've not been there for close to a year, but because I've been in constant communication with her, we've been able to work together to ensure that I'm still relevant, not even as an individual, but the organization as a whole. So I think key things that you can take from my short submission on this question is just keep doing what you were doing even when you're not in the same environment. The consistency is key, as Coco has mentioned, and do more things that will make your story a coherent one when you decide to sit down one day and tell somebody that this is where you started from and this is where you're going.
Excellent. Thank you. Great. Something you talked about, collaboration. So with the Rubio Small Girls Foundation, and I was going to wrap us up, have us wrap up on talking about impact and how we're also going to support other women. But to start that conversation, and I think we should be wrapping up soon because the network is just doing what it wants to do. But to start that conversation, you talk about collaboration. Can you tell us, okay, so when you talk about collaboration, you talk about how even though you're not there, your co-founder for the foundation, who is, our excellent doctor, she's held the fort and continues to run with the vision as you also, both of you are working together. And I find that a lot of times, just also going back to that thing on competition, a lot of times people, ladies, let's be real, women don't like to collaborate with other women, just for the idea of, so that I will have my name on it. But I think if we really want to accelerate action and push for whatever we are pushing for in our different fields, collaborating with people is key. So how you're talking about, and I would like you to even touch on that with the Rubio Foundation. But a lot of times, I had someone say that the sky is big for all birds to fly. It's just that you determine if you're an eagle or if you want to be people. But I think that collaborating with people, it's also very important who you collaborate with, but collaborating with other people who are like and just acknowledging their strengths can take you further than just you trying to accomplish everything by yourself. Touch on Ruby or Small Girls Foundation, how it started, and the impact that you're making with it.
Okay, so I just want to start by saying that the truth is that sometimes collaborating is very hard, especially, as you said, when the person doesn't really see the vision that you see. And if the person is also laid back and is not somebody who likes to take action, it may be very difficult to collaborate. Now, before I even go to Ruby or Small Girls, I think that competition is not a bad thing, but it depends on where it's happening. We have very healthy competition. I mean, there are so many activities that involve competition. You cannot even decide to collaborate if you do it. So I think that the first thing that I need to point out is that healthy competition is not a bad thing. It's only when it leads to rivalry and unnecessary tension that it becomes a bad thing. Also, where you are counts. If, for instance, you are working in like a law firm or a bank, I really don't see how when you're working towards one goal, you should you should not collaborate. You should just like collaborate and work. So where the whole thing is happening counts. Who also you want to collaborate with is a key thing to take into account. So I must share the story of how even the Ruby or Small Girl started. I just read an article. I've seen a couple of articles that particular week on how girls were like having transactional sex to get money for pads. Like there were so many myths around pads and menstruation. Sorry, a lot of girls were missing school because like so many things. It took on like it went on for like a week that same week, and I'm like, how is this like coming to my attention at the same time? So I was like, I went back to the drawing board. I journal a lot and I write a lot. So I went to my journal. I'm like, I've seen this a lot of times. Like, I don't know what to do about it, but I'll come back to it. So I was like, okay, who can I do this with? And the first person whose name came to my mind was her now. I didn't even blink. I didn't even have to think so much about it. She was the first person whose name came to my mind. And I immediately spoke to her about it. And she also didn't blink. And I think that because we were aligned on the vision, it's made everything so easy. I also want to say that girls, I don't know if it's a part of us, but there's always some like edge to compete. Like I get you when you say, okay, girls, this is how we are. But I think it all starts with the mindset. If we are able to do away with that kind of mindset and know what the goal is, it will even make you like your focus will not be on the other person. Your focus will at all times be on what we are trying to achieve. So that is one thing. Now, apart from collaboration with women, I like that you actually started this whole series with a conversation with men. Because in as much as we try to deny it, we need the men. And we need to collaborate with them to actually accelerate action. Because tell me how you and another woman in your office will try to do something. Like, I don't know if you're all following the whole Nigeria sexual harassment issue. Yes. You and a woman can actually agree that, okay, we are standing against this. But if all the people in the office who are also men are not even supporting you, I believe that you can actually accelerate action. So I'm very glad that you made us have the conversation with men. We need them as our allies. So it's very good that we take it into account that. And I think Joanna's, what does she think the theme means to her, actually pointed that out. We have to collaborate with the men and the women because it's just together that we can make a difference in the society. So I think it's a mindset thing, it's a goal thing, and an environment thing, and as well as collaboration beyond the specific gender that we are.
I like that you create like a clear cut with the differences in like what types of collaboration and then acknowledging that it is hard to collaborate, but then if you focus on collaborating with the right people, making sure that both of you are in the right frame of mind, that goes a long way. So can you just talk about the impact of the Rubio Small Girls Foundation? And then we can wrap up. Oh, I oh, there you are.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know already, Osmo is a term that we used when we were in Infantile Girls High School. It just means like period. Like, oh, I'm in a small, I'm in my period, you know. So Ruby is like a precious gem, and we believe every girl is a gem, a precious one for that matter. And so when we started, we were even struggling with a name, but then we decided to make it very a name that people can always remember, especially people who come from our side. And our main objective is not only to share parts to the girls every month, but to actually tell them, like, to make them aware that the period menstruation is part of being a woman.
Right.
And it's not a crime, it's not a bad thing, it's just something that it's a part of us. We can't do without it. However, knowing that you are a woman and then you will have your period is is a first step to knowing that you have to do something about keeping yourself clean, making sure, as a young girl, especially girls who are in school, they don't indulge in sexual activities because it has very long-term effects. So we usually have like the team, which is led, the educational team is led by Rina. She's the doctor, and she actually leads the team to teach the girls about how to keep themselves neat during their period, how to even report illegal sexual activities or sexual activities that have taken place in their lives. Yeah, so things like that. And at the end of the period, we actually share parts to the girls because the truth is that people can't afford parts, and now parts are so expensive.
Yeah.
So that is what basically we do. We started in 2022. We've been able to touch I'll say over 2,000 girls now, or close to that number. And we actually encourage anyone to volunteer with us if you have the time. We've seen actually almost all the girls on the call today join us to volunteer one at a session or more. So that's basically what we do, and we are happy to get support from anyone who wants to support.
Yeah, and I think that even in talking about accelerate action, doing something that is targeted to the next generation. And I know when I started, I said that a lot of us feel like, oh, we're not yet in our 40s, we're not yet, CEOs of Fortune 500s and whatnot. But there's also ways that we can make impact. And so, like, one of the goals of these conversations is to bring up some of these things. And I think that I volunteered with ROGF, and I think that ROGF is doing an excellent job in just creating that opportunity for the next generation of girls to have education about their I was going to say maternal health, but their personal hygiene and health, and then even get these feminine products like sanitary pads and stuff. I'm very excited that you decided to do this with me. Mami Esi and Coco, like most of the questions are to Mami Esi and Coco, but
Can they like, is it that they can't join? What's the
that's the
issue?
thing. Like, so I add them and it says unable to join.
Oh. Can they type their answers in the question,
Yeah.
in the chat
So,
box?
Mami, to your question, so the first question that came for you is, would you decline a gig if it will affect your 9 to 5? Coco already answered her question on, entrepreneurs. Like, do you think that everyone will be good at handling a business, or do you need that push? So maybe Mami, see the main question, and then Bessie, you can just wrap us up with what advice would you give to people from your story? What should you say is the main core thing for people to run with?
I think at the core of my story is just know yourself, and also don't be afraid to start something. Once you have the best community, or even a community of 2 or 3 people who are willing to support you, it's good to go. Don't wait. Don't try and say you're waiting for like a wow moment of some sort to like start whatever you have set your mind to do. Also, you should have like a clear cut goal, and you can have like mini goals from it. So you can do daily goals, weekly goals, but then the most important thing is to have time to assess if you are actually meeting those goals periodically. And you should have a very good work-life balance. I think for women, it's very important for us because, as Coco said, we may be emotional, and sometimes our emotions can get the better part of us. But if you have a very clear work-life balance and your mental health is actually in a good shape, I think that you can actually overcome a lot of turmoils that you find yourself in. Also, I think that you should document your journey. I'm very big on like journaling. Sometimes I just sit down, go for my old journal, and I'm like, oh my days, I've come from far. From writing in my, even I recall insights. I used to let some of my friends write in my journal. So like I think that journaling is a very good thing. You should do it. Sometimes I am not able to do it daily, but when I go back to it, I'm like, okay, this is a recap of everything that happened in the week. I mean, sometimes you can't have someone to talk to, and it's a good thing for you to like write everything out in your journal and have a good community of friends. Don't limit your friends to only girls who gossip and have nothing productive to bring to the table. Um, I also think that you should read wide. You can find yourself in banking, but you can read something about law. You can find yourself in entertainment, but you can read something about sports. So I think that you should read wide. Sometimes you can find a job that just wants you to be street smart. It's not always about the book knowledge. So read wide. And I think the last thing I'll say is just be yourself. And um Coco, no, I didn't say stop gossiping. I said don't limit it to gossiping. It means there's some room for gossiping. Gossiping is really the spice of life. Don't let anybody lie to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just be yourself, to be honest. Don't like present an unreal version of yourself to the world, and it will be very difficult for you to keep up. Just be yourself, and everybody will want you for you, and let your work speak for you. Yeah.
That's so good. Just talking about journaling. Do you remember woman daughter you can make it? That book. So I still have, like, even when I was relocating, I brought all my journals with me, because it's very important to keep track of where you've come from. Like, it even helps you to stay grounded because you remember, like, in those moments when you were saying, oh, I want to do this, I want to be that. And like for me, one of the big things that always wows me about journaling is a lot of things that I'm living now, I wrote it. I just never remembered what I was doing it.
I'm sorry, I had to laugh. My former office mate has come to write my gist partner. Guys, I didn't say that
Oh,
gisting is bad. Guys, gisting is good for life. Just do it in smaller.
that shouldn't be the focus. So much, Bessie. Mamiesi has answered the question that was asked her. She said yes, she declines some bookings sometimes because of
Yeah,
her
sure.
life, but she'll propose an earlier time or later time for the client first. So this has been a very fruitful conversation. One of the things that I picked from all four of us as we talked was that sometimes you chance into destiny, but it's your responsibility to determine the outcome of these things. And how you can do that is be knowledgeable, don't limit yourself to just your corner. Be intentional about your environment and the people you keep around, and then pace yourself. Is really not that deep. Just pace yourself and make sure that whatever you're doing is more excellent, like more quality than quantity, and your work will speak for you. I think this has been an awesome conversation. I had a game for us at the end, but I had to be all four of us. So I'm just going to save that for the next time I get everybody on the call. I'm just,
Oh, just let them.
no,
They can't do it to the chat
it's
box.
rapid fire. They have to be talking. It
Okay.
cannot.
Somebody has texted me and sent me what just guys, I've changed. You need to hear me.
Okay, so Mamiesi's last words, make a positive impact wherever you find yourself. Yeah, that's true. And she talked about how people remember you for that positive impact that you make on them. So yes, thank you all so much for joining. Thank you, Bessie. Thank you, Mamiesi. Thank you, Coco. And I really pray and hope that as you continue to go up the ladder, um, that we continue to stay in touch and that people continue to hear of your stories and the impact that you are making. Thank you all. Any final, who said, Coco, please, your network is not good. She said, all of us, dear, when we come to the USA, right?
Final word is if you're a Moga 2014 member, we have a meeting on Sunday. If you don't attend, you know, I'm not going to say much. Thank you.
Please, if you're not a Moga, thank you for joining us. You matter too. You matter. Thank you. All right. Right. So I'll save this live, and feel free to like come back, watch it. Thank you all for joining and interacting. It's been a great session. Bye. Head girl has spoken. Yeah.